Are regional property markets overcooked? It's a question that's been coming up more and more, especially after so much strong growth in the past few years. Many investors are starting to assume the best is all behind us in the regional market. But what does the data actually tell us? Because these markets aren't all moving in the same way. In this episode, I'm going to talk about 8 regional markets. There's still got plenty of cooking time left. I'm Junge Ma, lead research analyst at InvestorKit. Now let's get into it. In the past 5 years, overall, regional markets have grown stronger than capital markets on average. But the reality is, regional markets, they are actually just catching up with the capital markets instead of exceeding. Here I'm going to show you what happened over the past 20 years in the regions and the capital markets. On the screen, we see this indexed median house price growth trajectory for both regions and capital cities. Over 20 years, from 2006 to 2026, on average, capital cities' house value increased by 207%. That is approximately 100% per decade. And at the same time, regions' average house prices increased by 203%. Actually, it's close to capital cities, but still slightly under. The trend lines started to diverge in the 2010s when capital cities started to perform better than the regions, mostly led by Sydney and Melbourne. And it's only in the past 5 years, since 2021, that the regions got more faster momentum to catch up with the capital city trend line. So that is why I'm saying that regional cities are actually just catching up instead of overheating. And now I'm going to give you 8 examples to show you why our regional cities, or many of the regional cities, still got time to further cook. We have 2 groups of cities here. The first group is the cities that have already been hot, and now prices are still going fast and supply is still tight compared to the demand in both the sales market and the rental market. 4 cities here. First one, Bunbury in Western Australia. In the past year, it achieved 16% annual growth, lower than the year before, but it's still well above 10%. In the sales market, inventory has been declining since end of 2024, and now it is sitting at around 1.1 months of stock. Extremely tight supply. And at the same time, in the rental market, vacancy rate increased a bit in the past 1 to 2 years, but now, since mid-2025, vacancy rates have been coming down again, and now it is sitting at around 0.5%. We can call that a rental crisis continuing. And the second market we're talking about is Mount Gambier in South Australia. In the past 1 year, annual growth was 13%. Growth started to slow in 2024, where inventory went from under 2 to around 3. But in 2025, we saw inventory stabilize. And now, since May 2025, inventory actually declined again. Now it is sitting around 2 months of stock. As a result of the shrinking supply, price growth has been increasing in the past year. In the rental market, vacancy rate has been declining since 2024 as well, and now it is sitting at 0.4%. Also a crisis level vacancy rate. And the third and fourth are both in Queensland, the really hot market. Toowoomba, last 1 year growth, 18%. In the sales market, inventory is staying at around 1.5, 1.6 months of stock. In recent months, there has been a slight increase, but that is nowhere near a pressure relief. Rental market remaining tight as well, with vacancy rates sitting stably around 0.6%. And then we move to North Queensland and look at Townsville. Past 1 year growth, 20%. Similar to Bunbury, this number is actually a bit lower than what it achieved last year, but still, that's a 20% growth. And in the sales market, inventory level is staying below 1.5 months of stock. Like what happened in Toowoomba, inventory has been increasing from the historic low 1.1, 1.2 to the current 1.3. But if you look at it, that is only 0.1 growth in almost half a year, nowhere near a real pressure relief. Vacancy rate staying well below 1%. And in the past year, the trend line was actually overall going downward. So the above are the 4 cities that have been performing well and now still got a lot of heat in the markets. Then next, we're looking at 4 markets that have cooled a bit before 2025, but now have regained momentum. These markets are in regional New South Wales, regional Victoria, and Tasmania. First city, Double. Double's last 1 year growth was 13%, been increasing over the past 2 years. In the sales market, inventory has been steadily trending downward from around 3.5 months 2 years ago to the current 2.2, 2.3, and the trend line is continuing to go down. Vacancy rate on the rental market, similar trend, has been coming down since late 2024, and now it is also sitting at a really low level at 0.7%, meaning demand is actually high in both the sales market and the rental market overall. Second city, Tamworth in North New South Wales. 15% annual growth in the previous year. Inventory has been trending downward as well. Very similar to Double, from close to 4 2 years ago to the current just 2 months. Vacancy rate has been steady over the past 1 year or so, around 1%. Now, Victoria, the emerging state. Here, the example is Bendigo, which achieved higher than 8% annual growth in the past year. Vacancy rate has been trending downward since late 2024, from close to 5 to the current 2.5. That actually explains why Victoria, all these regional Victorian cities, are gaining so much momentum in just the past 1 to 2 years. Vacancy rate as well has been hovering around this 1% mark. Now the last city, the last example, Tasmania, Devonport, 12% annual growth in the previous year. Tasmanian cities essentially lost some heat after the COVID boom in 2023 and 2024. But in 2025, demand surged, supply shrank, inventory in Devonport decreased from higher than 5 months of stock to the current below 3 in just 1 year. One big driver or contributing factor to this fast recovery is their affordability. And in the rental market, vacancy rate has been extremely low. Tasmanian cities are actually seeing some of the lowest vacancy rates across the country. Here in Devonport, vacancy rate now is below 0.3%. Other cities in Tasmania like Hobart, Launceston, or Burnie, they're all seeing a very similar level of vacancy rates. So the above are the 8 examples. Some have been hot and the heat is continuing, and some have cooled a bit and now regaining momentum. And now let's have a look why these regional cities still have heat and momentum to go further ahead. I'm talking about 3 major reasons here. One is the strong infrastructure investment in the regions. We're seeing a lot of transport, medical, educational infrastructure projects being developed across regional cities in different states. Here are 5 examples. The first one is the Inland Rail connecting Melbourne and Brisbane. It is rewiring supply chains, agriculture and mining logistics. It is creating new inland growth corridors. And most importantly, it is creating a lot of new jobs in the regional cities. Some regional hubs that are significantly benefiting from it include Parkes, Wagga Wagga, Albury-Wodonga, and Toowoomba. Again, these are just examples, not the only cities benefiting from this inland rail. Second, in Queensland, we have the Bruce Highway Upgrade Project. It is a series of major upgrades across Queensland's primary regional highways, connecting Brisbane and regional coastal cities in the north. all the way to Cairns. This project is not just improving freight and tourism flow across the coastline, but also it is supporting population flow from southeast Queensland to central Queensland and further north Queensland. And as a result, improving housing demand in those regions. Third, in regional Victoria, we have this regional rail revival project. It is to upgrade the rail system across Victoria, improving connectivity to Geelong, Ballarat, Bendigo, Gippsland, and more regional cities. And it is actually part of the reasons for Geelong, Ballarat, Bendigo's population expansion and overall economy expansion. And in the end, I'm going to give you a list of big regional hospitals redevelopment projects. They are the 1.3 billion Toowoomba Hospital redevelopment, the 835 million John Hunter Health and Innovation Precinct in Newcastle. There is this 655 million Ballarat Hospital redevelopment and $558 million Albury-Wodonga Hospital redevelopment. In Bunbury, we have a $471 million hospital expansion. And in Warrnambool, we have this $396 million hospital. Besides this, there are many more hospitals being redeveloped, expanded, or upgraded. The improvement in infrastructure is driving economic growth as well as population growth. And that leads to our second reason of why regional cities still have a momentum to go ahead, which is the strong regional migration. Based on this Regional Movers Index report by Commonwealth Bank and Regional Australia Institute, population flowing from capital cities to regional cities have been staying at a much elevated level post-COVID compared to the years before COVID. If we talk about index numbers, pre-COVID, the average migration index to the regions were somewhere around 93, and post-COVID, it's always been around 102 to 103 on average. So in all these years, people are continuing to move from capital cities to regions and staying there. Regional migration was a thing even before COVID time, but now we are seeing much stronger migration. And now it is stabilized at this level. We can confidently say that it's not a COVID thing. People are moving to regions because of job opportunities, because of affordability, because of lifestyle as well, but not just because of the lifestyle. I was talking about job opportunity, and here comes the evidence. Job markets in the regions have actually been more active since 2020 compared to the average capital city job markets. Now in this chart, we're looking at the indexed trend lines of a number of job ads posted online in overall regions and in overall capital cities. It is clear that compared to 6 years ago, February 2020, in the capital cities, number of job opportunities have increased by around 20%. That is good. That's still an increase. But in the regions, we're looking at 80% increase overall. That's the reason showing that the regions are actually creating more job opportunities compared to capital cities. So in summary, always remember, not all regional markets are created equal. There's nuance in real estate. While some regional markets might be getting a bit overcooked, looking at every market through the same lens might protect you from some overcooked market, but may cost you gains from others that are still doing well. I'm Junge Ma, the Senior Research Analyst at InvestorKit. I'll see you next time.